Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the No Nonsense live stream on Facebook today. I decided to do it on Facebook instead of YouTube because I feel like more people are watching. How we all doing? Been an interesting week and a half, I think. I wake up every day and I go through a different flood of emotions in my head within 2 to 3 minutes. Those emotions are New World Order. This is the best time to be alive. And that's about it. Oh, hold on. Dog wants in. Come on, dog. All right. Lily, we'd be good. So, nothing new under the sun is the theme of this live stream, which is true. Everything that's going on right now, none of it's new. I've really doing my best to not look at too much news that's coming out because it's a lot of bullshit. So what I've been doing is just getting bits and pieces, and I noticed a pattern of something that I want to shed a little bit of light to, and that pattern was how this is being called a war on the coronavirus, and we're at war with an invisible enemy. Sounds very familiar. It kind of sounds like the war we were on with terrorism. You know, get everybody riled up about this invisible war, which, again, you're being programmed. So what I'm telling you now is to help those who thinking something's weird going on. This is to help you unplug from that nonsense. So some keywords to look out for: war on the coronavirus. Okay, we're not at war with it. That's nonsense. Thanks, Lily. Because that's what we were at with terrorism. Terrorism is an invisible enemy too. Remember, we did this 9/11. We went to a war in Iraq, Afghanistan. A lot of troops came back pretty fucked up because they thought they were going over there for good reason. Not so much. So watch out for the war thing. The other part is the virus and how crazy people are with this whole social distancing, quarantine thing. I think it's hilarious. But it also shows... But I understand people's fear, because what I have to remember is not everybody is at a level of acceptance yet where their lives haven't been completely fucking upside down. I mean, we're all in this. I mean, I'm out of a job. I've been out of a job before, so I understand. So there's a lot of people worried about where they're going to get money, you know, bills. I get all that. I've been there. I've been through that hardship. It's okay. You're going to be all right. One thing I wanted to point out that's really interesting, because people are really scared. They're like, oh, this virus is out there. And I go, yeah. There's a thing about that's misleading about viruses. Number one, viruses aren't alive. Okay. And this isn't, I know I'm not a medical professional or anything like that, but this is something, if you talk to people in the medical world, they'll tell you this. They're not alive. It cannot be airborne. This is something that's been in medical terminology for decades, long before any of this. And just to prove you right, or me right at least, so I'm not looking like I'm talking out of my ass, I got my Oxford Dictionary from 1971 here. And what I like about this is you can't erase the answers like you can on the internet or put in what you think with my Oxford Dictionary. So I looked up the definition of a virus. And believe it or not, the first definition from my 1971 Oxford Dictionary is it's actually a slimy liquid emitted by a poisonous animal. That's part of it. The path. Thanks, dog. The second thing is a morbid principle or poisonous substance produced in the body as a result of some disease, especially one capable of being introduced into other persons or animals by inoculation or otherwise, and of developing the same disease in them. Inoculation. There's another word. Let me go back to my dictionary and tell you what inoculation means. If you don't already know, have you been inoculated yet? You think you know what it means. Hold on. 1971 Oxford Dictionary is going to tell you. The introduction into the body by puncture of the skin, so a needle, or through a wound, so a cut, something like that, of the virus or germs of an infectious disease. So that's what inoculation means, and a virus is a dead thing. So number one, you can't breathe it in with your little your face mask, guys. People can cough on you. You literally have to have it injected into you, or you have to have a wound. This is why wounds get infected. This is common medical stuff. I'm not even a fucking doctor, and I know this. Like, if you were to get cut out in the wild and there was no modern medicine, you have to be careful, because if that gets infected with a bunch of germs and stuff, yeah, it can lead to more complicated diseases. Viruses, though. Okay? And I'm not saying this because I know I'm not a doctor, but there are medical professionals, and there's information out there that will tell you since the dawn of time what a virus is. And I'm reading you the definition, 1971 Oxford Dictionary. See, the internet could change its answers, but this doesn't. That's why I got it. I found this at the bookstore. Look at that, it's 2 volumes. I had to split all the words in half, right? Because they didn't fuck around with definitions. So, again, if you're worried about the virus, that mask and everything and the gloves, it's not going to help you. Unless you're bleeding in to another person and you have it, no. It's not how disease spreads. That's why, like, when you have animals and stuff at farms, you have to make sure they don't have, like, cuts on their feet. There's no mites getting in them. Stuff like that, guys. Ask a farmer. You should really ask a farmer. They probably know more about disease than some medical professionals. So this is nothing new under the sun. So when you hear the words war on the coronavirus, COVID-19, whatever you want to call it, know that this is just another mind control exercise to get you programmed to think we're going to war with somebody or something. No, we're not going to war with China, guys. That's ridiculous. First off, they would kill us anyway. They would. They got their own system over there, so know that. The war here that I've noticed is the things that are happening in Europe. This self-quarantine stuff, the things that we're doing to ourselves, we think we're, and I don't blame you. 5-10 years ago, I was on board with you. Like, if there was this would have happened 5-10 years ago, I'd been like, oh, just stay inside, wash your hands, everything's fine. But is nothing different. We know that viruses aren't alive. They can't be transmitted through the air, guys. That's nonsense. You've watched too many Hollywood movies and TV shows and shit like that and horror movies. It's not real. But you've seen this so much that you think it's real. The movies like Contagion and Outbreak have been very popular on Netflix and stuff, by the way. And the movie Pandemic was just released in the fall. Come on. Think a little ahead, outside the box. Not because I know a lot of people are worried. I've seen some people admitting to themselves, like, something doesn't feel right. And I go, exactly. Something doesn't feel right. So this information that I'm passing on to you is not just an opinion. This is to break free of some of the nonsense. Again, I'll read the definition from 1971 Oxford Dictionary. Okay. A morbid principle or poisonous substance. I didn't even read the third part yet, but I'm going to get to that because this is really interesting, why words matter. They do. A morbid principle or poisonous substance produced in the body as a result of some disease, especially one capable of being introduced into the persons or animals by inoculation or otherwise, and of developing of the same disease in them. Inoculation, again, the introduction into the body by a puncture of the skin. That's why we get inoculated. You get your vaccines. You get a needle in your arm, right? Or through a wound. So you get a wound, gets cut, get a lot of germs in there. You got to keep it clean. We all know that. Peroxide, whatever. This is like, I think our moms are better doctors than most people. Of the virus or germs of the coronavirus is a real thing, right? But how they say it's spreading is not real. Now, to spread a lie, you have to base it in truth. Coronavirus, real thing. How it's spreading, not a real thing. Know that. That's false. Because it's not alive. It can never be transmitted airborne. It's a dead entity. It needs a living host. Okay, there's that. So the face mask and the gloves and all that shit, it's overboard. If it was as deadly as it was, this stuff that's not going to matter. Where else was I going with this? So this is nothing new. What little bit I've seen on the internet about Trump and stuff saying the war. Okay, we did this 9/11, war on terror. It's happening again. So remember 9/11? A lot of conspiracies, a lot of things came out. A lot of people don't think it happened. It didn't happen the way it did, not the official story anyway. So know that was a lie. You've been lied to again. Now people are doing it to themselves, keep themselves in the house, not going to the store, thinking this is just something that blows over. You have to look beyond this. In Europe, with you need papers to go to work and stuff like that. See, that's not going to go away. Is the only line of defense between that and Europe is America, and what we in our brains to think outside the box, going, yeah, I don't think that seems like a good idea. So with that being said, know that, don't consent to nonsense, and we'll be okay. Oh, the third thing about a virus, which was really fascinating, that even I wasn't aware of until I read my 1971 Oxford Dictionary. There's a copy at Half Price Books in Naperville, Illinois, if you need another one. The third definition of a virus from this dictionary is a moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. Let that sink in for a minute. A moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. Virus. Coronavirus. COVID-19 virus. It's literally programming your mind with not real poison, just mind controlled poison to get you to do stupid shit like, oh, I don't know, wear a full body condom, gloves, a hat inside, pretend like it's winter, quarantine yourself in your room, look at the internet all day for the news, which if you just go outside, which I've been going out every day, by the way. Oh, and I got this coffee. Am I retarded? Maybe. But the same people are always working at that Dunkin' Donuts, and you know what they got? A nice smile on their face. They're very kind. Nobody there cares. And so I've been going to the same grocery store, and this grocery store knows who I am. I'm there all the time. Everybody's still kind of like, hey, it doesn't look like a lot of people around my neighborhood are that scared. Some retarded people online, but hey, what are you going to do? It's online. I can't see your face. I can't hear how you're really feeling. But out in the public, I've seen more people walking around this last week than I've seen ever. Like, it's almost like a lot of people don't believe the nonsense, which is good. So again, the whole thing is none of this is new, guys. We did this in 2003 when we were going to war. I bought it. I was in high school when 9/11 happened. I was just as shocked. It blows that out of the water because this literally affects the world. Europe, here, everything. Australia shut down. They're doing it in Israel too. Interesting, right? New World Order is what keeps going through my head. And we think that's funny because we've been joking about it for decades. But I think that's the truth there, is we were actually being prepared for it for decades. If you had not heard New World Order and thought it was funny, and then now all of a sudden we're self-quarantine, we got curfews, and because there's a virus. No, remember the third definition of a virus from my 1971 Oxford Dictionary, which I'm going to keep repeating because this is important, because you can't change that definition. And don't argue with me that the words change over time. No. In the medical world, the virus has always been the same. It's universal. So whatever you're hearing now is probably because you never knew what it was, so you just Googled it and they switched an answer. That's fine. There's nonsense out there. So I'll read it again for you guys who are worried about this virus. Actually, the first definition is it's a slimy liquid emitted by a poisonous animal. Rabies. Think about that. I could be wrong on that. Again, I'm not a medical professional, so bear with me. The main definition is a morbid, principle, or poisonous substance produced in the body as a result of some disease, especially one capable of being introduced into other persons or animals by inoculation or otherwise of developing the same disease within them. An inoculation, the introduction into the body by the puncture of the skin, a shot. That's why did you get all your inoculations? We know that, right? Basic stuff. Of the virus or of germs of infectious disease. And my third one, which is very interesting, is a moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence, a virus. Meaning bullshit. Getting you scared. I have learned in my life that all my ridiculous decisions that caused me any kind of pain in this world came from a place of fear on an individual level. So when you get the masses to get scared, fear spreads like a virus. Get people thinking all kinds of crazy shit. And I've hopped on board this. Okay, I've gone through different scenarios in my head since this whole thing started. I like I said, every morning I wake up, it's either like the best time to be alive, or I'm like, it's New World Order Day. You know, I've gone through both in like seconds. I keep flip-flopping every day. But when I go out and I see people still interacting, having a good time, this is nothing new. This stuff has happened before. It's happened before. In my lifetime, we did it with 9/11. War on terror. Now it's a war on virus. There's no fucking war. Okay, that's nonsense. That's bullshit. Know that. Keep yourself prepared up here, because then when the nonsense really does come, you just say, no, thank you, and you go about your way. That's it. Nothing new. I like people having a sense of humor, though, with this whole quarantine thing, right? I got an idea for a joke. I might do it later. Like I did the other week with, the toilet paper thing. It's nonsense. Even if it was the end of the world, God, get something. Nobody's prepared. I'd say 85% of people are just not prepared. Maybe that might even be generous. I think it's more like 95%. There's a handful of people that know how to grow and or get food. Ryan, Kate. So, hey, chill out, dog. Now you guys are being dogs. See, I can't be mad at them. They're just being dogs. They're having a good time. Look at him. She's looking at his face. Somebody's having a good day. So, nothing new under the sun. Very true. Everything, like the only thing that's new that we're all experiencing is this trauma together of everything being shut down, no distractions from everything. Everything's closed. Most of us are out of a job. Some of us still have jobs. I'm out of a job, but that's okay. Not the first time, so I'm not worried about it. I've already gone through this. It seems like it's the end of the world. If this is your first time and you've lost your job, yeah, you're probably spiraling in some crazy shit in your head, thinking like, oh my God. And I'm going to tell you how I got through it. Well, at the time I was drinking a lot, but not anymore. So don't do that. I don't recommend that. It's not a good idea to just indulge in your vices, guys, because nothing good's going to come from the drugs and the sex that everybody's probably partaking in at this point. What you have to do is not give in to your vices as much as possible. Stay stronger. Be honest with yourself. Admit that you're scared. Get through it. It'll be okay. How can you get through it? Know that you shouldn't attach yourself to anything external, money, places, things, because at any given point, like it is right now, it's just being pulled from underneath you, like a rug. Just whack. And within 2 weeks, we've already seen it happen. People went from, oh, this is a vacation, to looking at the bright side, to being like, okay, now I'm worried. And it's like, look, just know that whatever's happening is out of our control. It's out of my control. So this is why I'm having a good time. I still do this. I don't buckle into fear. I don't have to do these, but I want to do this because for me, this is how I deal with it. And I think it's great. I think it's the best time to be alive. My family's come together. We've texted each other and talked to each other more in the last couple of weeks than a while. Instead of just, your once in a great blue moon at Christmas and the holidays, families have come home. The important things are being shown. There's nothing wrong with that. I think that's a really good thing. It is. You got nothing to distract you. I was talking to some friends this morning, and we're like, people's excuses to like not do something or talk to a friend they haven't talked to. And it seems like everybody's reaching out. Like there's like a person who told me they were like, I just want to reach out to somebody, see if they're okay. I go, yeah, that's right. That's what you have to do. You can't expect other people to do it, but everybody's kind of got that feeling. I've been doing it. I've reached out to people just asking, like, how are you doing? How's the family? Is everybody okay? Is there anything I can do to help you? That's all we can do at this point in time. Your hardships, the money, the worries, that stuff will pass. Okay? But learn the lesson like I did 11 years ago when I was laid off is I don't attach myself to those things, because at any given moment, no matter how hard I work, no matter how much effort I put in, if I attach me to those things and it gets ripped away, then my being, my sense of self is ripped away along with it. And then I become insane. I get fearful. I get scared. I start to lose my center, and then I can't be of help to anybody. Then I become selfish. Then I'm thinking, oh yeah, you know what? Sex sounds really good right now. Or, I haven't had a drink in 5 years, but no, I don't want to. But for me, recovery or death were my two choices, and I chose recovery. So coffee and sugar are my only two really bad vices, and Doritos. And I know nobody's perfect, but I'm ahead of the curve on a lot of things. So I'm just giving some useful information, because a lot of people I have noticed, and it's not your fault, are operating on bad information. That's the blessing and the curse of the internet is we have the unlimited ability to see and access information at any given time, but we also get fed a lot of shit. So what I've learned in my own life, and based on my own research and personal experience and my own fears and telling myself the truth and being honest with myself and others, I have learned to see nonsense a mile away. And we are in the middle of nonsense with this whole coronavirus thing. It's bigger than this. The virus is real. It's a real thing, but it's not like what it says it is. Okay. It's not spreading the way it says it is. And to be honest, I'm going to tell you a story. I'm 100% convinced I've already had this a year ago and possibly 2 years ago. Last Christmas, and how they describe the virus with the respiratory thing and the phlegm, I had it a year ago. And I'm not alone on this. I'm on the internet a lot with other people outside of my social circle who do things. And I heard a gentleman say that his mom was convinced that they had it a year ago too. And what I mean by that is I'll describe what I went through a year ago is identical as to how they describe the coronavirus. Respiratory, right? Okay, so Christmas time last year, I was sick for 2.5 weeks. I was fatigued. I bounced in and out of a fever. I had body aches. I had the most insane congestion inside my lungs to the point where I was hocking up just disgusting phlegm and just not, and it was and some of it was solidified, which is what they describe, right? So my crazy conspiracy head thinks this has already been here and it's been tested a couple years now, and this is the full-blown thing. Can you get it? Can you get sick? Yeah. Does it knock you out? Absolutely. Kicked my ass for a couple weeks last year until I took oil of oregano. I recommend. Okay. If you have oil of oregano, take a little of that. It seems to have neutralized it pretty quick. Other than that, I had it, and that was a year ago. Now today, everybody around me around Christmas time got sick, and I did not. So I'm pretty sure I built up a nice immunity to it, because that's what immune systems do. Having a fever and getting sick is a good thing because your body's actually fighting it off. It's doing its job. Yes, I understand elderly people get sick. I'm not discrediting that, but anything I've seen about reports of it, people are always above 80. Like, okay, guys, know that that's not uncommon. Number one, when people die above 80, when they get pneumonia is that is a thing. And people die when they get above 80. So if you get this, yeah, I don't know what to tell you. I'm 35. My immune system is like an iron tank. But I also don't feed myself a bunch of nonsense poison. My mind, too. I eat well. I exercise moderately. I'm in pretty good shape today. Now, I wasn't 6 years ago, okay? So it's going to be different for everybody. I'm only speaking for myself. But I do know bullshit when I see it, and whatever little bit of nonsense, because there's so much information being pumped out at us at any given day, guys, just back away from it. What can you do around your neighbors? Are you okay? If you're okay, don't worry about it. Reach out to your friends, reach out to your family, the brother you haven't talked to, the sister, because the friend you were pissed off at. Do that. I guarantee you'll feel a lot better after talking to those people and forgiving them, and maybe they'll forgive you if you fucked around in their life. You know, this is a good time to learn compassion, not empathy. Empathy is a weapon. Like, and I've seen it already being used with the, oh my God, we have to be considerate of the elderly people. I go, see, that's where you can twist it. Yes, you have to be considerate, but also you need to understand how viruses work. And I know I'm not a medical expert. I'm going to throw that out there, but I'm not retarded. And I can talk to people who universally agree and have this definition written out of what a virus is. See, you just hear it because, again, this third thing, which is the most intriguing thing to me from my 1971 Oxford Dictionary, is a moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. A virus. So it's got multiple meanings, a virus does. And again, it has to be inoculated either by a puncture of the skin, a vaccine, or it has to come through a wound, an open cut, something like that. You know, this is why, you know, it's like, it's not, this should be common sense. I mean, when I was a kid, you know, my mom used to, if I cut myself, immediately she took that bottle of peroxide. We're like, we don't want it to get infected, because that's where disease comes from, is when you have an open wound and germs get into that. Then you get disease. Farms do this with animals. They have to keep them clean. They have to make sure they're not getting fly bites, you know, mites, shit like that. Half my family grew up on farms, so this is why I'm not completely uneducated on it either, you know. Oh, I didn't go to medical school. I go, okay, well, I've talked to other people from the other side who disagree with the certain people that go to medical school that have that piece of paper. So are they wrong? So think about it. And I'm not trying to talk down to people, which it might seem like I'm condescending a little bit. And for that, I apologize, but I'm not. I'm just trying to lighten the load of misery that's out there right now with a good laugh, too. So have fun with the quarantine. Enjoy your vacation. But I could tell you this. Know that coming up shortly, there's going to be some things in motion that we have to say no to. Nothing forced on you against your will. And also, take it a day at a time, right? So I'm going to get out of here. This was a fun video. And I think I'm going to move it to Facebook because I get YouTube's throttling me again. That's okay. So I'm going to give, if you need to check out anything I say, again, go get yourself a 1971 Oxford Dictionary, look up the definition of virus. And I'll say it one more time, share this with people because this is good information. This is good stuff. I wouldn't tell anybody information that's shit because I actually do care. I have natural empath tendencies and it sucks sometimes because that's why I used to drink, because I used to feel too much for everyone and everything, and I couldn't save everybody. It sucked. But now today, I've realized to help people, you have to be honest. It's up to you to take in information as it comes and decide what's true and what's false. So again, the definition. Two things are happening here. You're being programmed to think it's a war on an invisible enemy. Trump even, I heard him say it, and that's not true. War on terror was an invisible enemy. Remember history, folks. Nothing new under the sun. This is repeated. A virus from my 1971 Oxford Dictionary, which I have right here. This right here doesn't lie like the internet does because it's been printed, and before the time of, there was a consensus before that book was published. This is the definition of something. So, virus. A morbid principle or poisonous substance produced in the body as a result of some disease, especially one capable of being introduced into other persons or animals by inoculation or otherwise, and of developing the same disease in them. Inoculation, by definition, from the 1971 thing. We all know, did you get your inoculations? You hear that a lot, right? The introduction into the body by puncture of the skin, so a shot, or through a wound, cut on the arm. We all know this, gets infected with germs, bad things happen, okay? And the third most intriguing thing, definition of a virus from this book that I didn't even know until I looked it up, but this is great. A moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. Coronavirus. Virus literally means an intellectual poison, meaning when it's talked about on a public platform like it is right now in the news media and on the internet, it's literally poisoning your mind. Sounds crazy, I know, but I also lived through 9/11, and that was nonsense about everything we were told. War on terror never happened. All it did was create a bunch of negative fear and emotion towards people I never met. Then I actually met Muslim people that were some of the most cool people I've ever hung out with in my life. So no, there was that. Now we got this war on another virus, the coronavirus, right? And what is it? Invisible enemy. This is nothing new under the sun. We've already gone through this about, 17 years ago. So know this, especially those who have lived through it that are my age. You should know better by now. And then also for the young kids, which actually, you know what? I give credit to people that are like younger. They seem to be picking up on this nonsense a lot quicker than people my age. People my age seem to be freaking the fuck out. Or if they're older, they're like, put the gloves on. I'm like disappointed in you. Anyway, there's no war. We don't need to go to war. Okay? There's no war on terror. Okay? There is possibly a new world order that's coming up. Interesting. That's not just a thing. For 30 years, President Bush and all these guys said new world order. Even Obama said new world order at some point in a speech. It said it a lot. It's almost like they dropped that seed to get your mind to be like, oh, I guess this is a new world order. I just got to accept it. New. I ain't living in that world. That's just me, though. I've made that decision for myself. New. But right now, everybody who's living in fear is doing it to themselves. You are your own assassin. I believe this. Your mind, they don't need to do anything. They don't need to take, nobody's knocking on. It's you putting on your full body condom, spraying your hands with disinfectant, drinking bleach, and being like, I'm okay. No, you're not. You're actually becoming more sick. Because again, a moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. This whole idea of this entire pandemic, if you will, is a poisoning of your mind, making you act like a fucking jackass. I'm laughing at it. I get it. I understand the fear because I've been on that side before, and it's okay. That's why there's other people that have already walked through this fire and fear to kind of be there to be like, it's all right, come this way, it's gonna be fine. Well, it's all right. Cry, drink all the okay, all right. Have the one night stand if you need to. It's not recommended, but I get it. I can't judge you because I've been okay. So there's that. But then once you get through that, okay, let that go and then start to adapt to this new reality, because the reality of the situation is this isn't new. But it's a good test, man, to learn the truth. Now's the time. Now is the time to not let this tear you down, because it's a good time to be alive. My first feeling when this happened was that this is a wonderful thing, because literally families have come home and are forced to be together and to coexist again instead of do this separate crap, which isn't right. The family, community, neighbors, like, that's how it is. And I think as technology and life has come, we just separated from that. That's not good. And I'm guilty of it too. I've been a selfish dick in my life where I've isolated myself and been in my own solitude, but not anymore. But I've gone through that where I thought I just wanted to go down this path and then I didn't do it. So remember, a virus isn't a living thing. It can't be airborne. That's been across the medical, that's agreed universally. So the movies you've watched, the TV shows, that's Hollywood, guys. It's not real. It needs a host. It's a dead and living thing. Again, definition. One more time, and then I'm going to go. Share this on your news feeds or with people. And if you think I'm crazy, fine. Look it up for yourself. Get your own 1971 Oxford Dictionary. Look up the definition of virus and inoculation, and you tell me what you find, and then tell me if the definition's the same on Google. It's similar, but it's not the same. So, one more time, and I'm rolling out. Virus. Like, again, watch out for them saying war on a virus, because there's no war, guys. We're not going to war. We went to war after 9/11. We don't need to go to war with anything, anyone, ever again. No more. Done. It's over. So, the virus, according to my 1971 Oxford Dictionary. I'm going to keep plugging that because I don't think it sinks into some people. Morbid principle or poisonous substance produced in the body as a result of some disease, especially when capable of being introduced into other persons or animals by inoculation, which means it has to be injected into them, or otherwise, and developing the same disease in them. Inoculation, by definition of this, is the introduction into the body by a puncture of the skin, a shot, a vaccine. We know this. Did you get your inoculations, right? We can all agree on that. Or through a wound. So cut yourself, you get germs in the wound, it gets infected, and if it goes untreated, yeah, then you can get all kinds of crazy shit happening. This is not, I don't need to go to medical school for this. It's common knowledge, or at least it should be. And my third, and probably the most favorite of this virus thing, is a moral or intellectual poison or poisonous influence. Well, exactly what's happening right now with everything on the media and what they're saying. This is a poisonous influence attacking all kinds of stuff. A virus, that's the real definition. And an actual virus is not alive, can't ever be airborne, so your mask and your gloves, stupid. Unless you're cut up and you've got, say you're all sliced up, your hands are sliced, and you don't want to get it, yeah, put gloves on out in public. Then you're doing everybody a favor. But if you're not, it's like you don't want to bleed on somebody if you have hepatitis, right? Good. Now you're actually being very considerate of other people. That's a good thing. But if you're just doing it to go out in public and think that's the way, no. Again, if you're a farmer, I think you get this. And I grew up with people on farms, and this is pretty common. You want to keep animals and like fly bites and stuff. You don't want shit like that to spread there, because then it spreads to all the animals and then they die. That's, where your herd mentality comes in for you arguers that don't just regurgitate things. So I do research, and I talk to people, I listen, and I hear all sides, and I'm just reiterating some facts. That's all. Take what you want from it. I don't live in fear. I'm actually having a great time. My life hasn't changed much. Still hanging out with my family. I'm reading a lot of books. So get yourself a 1971 Oxford Dictionary. Share this. If you don't, great. If you don't believe me, do your own research. Not just talking to your doctor, though. Go outside your comfort zone and dig a little bit deeper within yourself for the truth. That's what I do. That's all I do. All the time. I've had nothing but time to do that. Thank you. I'll see if this live stream will continue on Facebook or not. I see more people have been popping in and out viewing here because YouTube again has throttled me. So watch this, share it, leave some comments, ask questions, talk to people. I don't know. Do something. And I think I'm going to make a funny video later and post it about this whole thing. And Tiger says, hold on. Tiger. Yeah, he's just hanging out. Yeah, so he's having a blast. Nothing changed for this dog. Come home, he's still just as happy as ever. Don't take yourself too seriously.